Welcome back to our channel, soap fans. After everything that has gone down in Salem over the last few months, they are pulling the ultimate trump card. I am half screaming in excitement and half terrified for the absolute mess this is going to cause. Because if there is one thing we know about this show, it is that they love to hit us where it hurts. Wait, I am getting ahead of myself. Let me take a breath. Okay, back to the point. We need to talk about the DiMeras. Specifically, we need to talk about Kristen DiMera and the absolute bombshell she is about to drop on her brother EJ. So, the new Days of Our Lives summer preview just dropped, and while the temperatures in Salem are rising, the real heat is coming straight out of the DiMera mansion. We all know Kristen has been working every single angle to make EJ pay for crossing her. I mean, they have been at each other's throats for months over Stefano's will, the mansion, and just pure sibling hatred. But this is low, even for Kristen. She isn't just going after his money, his experimental lab, or his CEO chair anymore. No, Kristen has officially reached out to Sydney DiMera. Yes, you heard me right. Sydney DiMera is coming back to Salem, and it is all part of Kristen's sick, twisted master plan to manipulate the girl and completely destroy her relationship with her father. I'm sorry, but am I the only one who thinks this is the most brilliantly evil thing Kristen has done in years? And let us just look at the context here, because it is wild. Kristen and EJ's rivalry has reached apocalyptic levels lately. Remember when Kristen literally used Sophia Choi to try and kill Johnny in that apartment fire just to get back at EJ? Yeah, that was insane, and it almost cost Chanel and Johnny everything right in the middle of Chanel's terrifying breast cancer crisis. EJ found out about the fire plot, and he absolutely exploded at Kristen, even kidnapping her at one point. So, Kristen is out for blood. She knows that EJ's weak spot, his absolute Achilles heel, is his children. With Johnny already pulling away from EJ, stepping down from the toxic DiMera CEO role, and investigating his dad over tainted drugs, EJ is losing his grip on his son. So what does Kristen do? She goes right for his beloved daughter. She is plotting to bring Sydney home just to poison her mind against EJ. It is so incredibly toxic, but I am so here for it. I have been watching the show for years, and we have to talk about Sydney's history because it is iconic. Remember the whole baby switch storyline back in the day? When Nicole Walker swapped Sydney with Grace, Sammy thought Grace was hers, EJ thought Sydney was his, and it was just months of absolute emotional torture for everyone involved. Sydney was literally born into chaos. She has Sammy Brady's fiery, unpredictable, hurricane-like blood, and EJ DiMera's ruthless, calculating DNA running through her veins. A kid with that kind of genetic makeup is not going to just sit quietly in the corner and take orders. If Kristen thinks she can just easily manipulate Sydney to do her bidding, she might be playing with fire. What if Sydney comes back and is even worse than Kristen? I mean, think about the potential here. Now, let us talk about the casting, because the rumor mill is spinning completely out of control. There is no official news from the network yet on exactly who is stepping into the role of a grown-up Sydney DiMera, but the social media hints are extremely loud right now. Everyone is pointing to Sydney Malachi. Like, come on, her name is literally Sydney. Based on all the backstage Instagram stories and the little breadcrumbs the cast has been dropping online, Sydney Malachi seems like the absolute frontrunner for the recast. And honestly, I kind of love it. She has that perfect mix of sweet and devious that you absolutely need to play the daughter of Sami and EJ. I can already picture her strutting into the DiMera mansion, dropping her designer bags on the floor, and immediately causing a massive scene. But can we just take a second to talk about EJ's current state of affairs? The man is literally spiraling out of control on every single front. I know some people are loving this EJ downfall era, but personally, it is almost hard to watch him lose everything all at once. His experimental Versavix drug from Dr. Rolf is failing miserably. Lexi is experiencing horrific symptoms and is probably going to face a grim fate again, which has caused Abe to literally snap and kick EJ out of her hospital room. EJ is getting physically beaten down in the streets for playing God. Kat Green is playing him like a fiddle for the ISA, feeding him lies while he falls for her. And now the one pure thing he has left in this world, his love for his daughter, is about to be weaponized against him by his own sister. It is brutal, but also he kind of deserves it after everything he has done. I am so conflicted because, let's be real, Kristen's psychology here is utterly fascinating. She lost Rachel to Bayview, and she is constantly fighting to maintain her grip on her own child. So Kristen is projecting her maternal manipulative energy onto her niece. It is classic Kristen behavior. Remember when she tried this kind of manipulation with Chloe or even Sarah? Yeah, didn't work then either in the long run. But Sydney is family. Sydney is DiMera. Kristen knows exactly which buttons to push to make Sydney feel like EJ abandoned her or doesn't care about her. Kristen will probably feed Sydney all sorts of lies about how EJ is obsessed with his failing science experiments and his new fling with Kat Green, making Sydney feel totally neglected and angry. Kristen is going to groom that girl into a weapon. And what happens when Sydney actually gets to Salem and realizes what is going on? Is she going to clash with Johnny? Johnny's out here trying to be the good guy, teaming up with Theo to fix the company's reputation and supporting Chanel through her terrifying pregnancy and cancer emergency. Johnny is the golden boy trying to do the right thing. Sydney is probably going to come in as the ultimate wild child looking to claim her throne. I bet Kristen is going to groom Sydney to try and take over the DiMera empire out from under both EJ and Johnny. Imagine a young adult Sydney demanding a seat at the board table and throwing her weight around. EJ would lose his absolute mind. I am predicting a massive sibling rivalry between Johnny and Sydney, completely orchestrated by Kristen pulling the strings from the shadows. Wait, I am going off on a tangent again. Let me reel it back. The point is, this summer preview has me completely hyped and typing a million miles a minute. I know some fans are exhausted by the constant DiMera infighting. Like, can't they just get along for 5 minutes? No, they can't. That is the whole point of the DiMeras. Stefano didn't raise a bunch of well-adjusted kids who share their toys and talk about their feelings. He raised sharks, and Kristen is the biggest great white in the tank right now. Bringing Sydney back is the exact kind of high-stakes, deeply personal, emotionally damaging drama that makes this show so addictive. I'm absolutely dreading seeing EJ's heartbreak when his daughter turns on him, but I am also grabbing my popcorn because Dan Foyer-Regal and Stacey Hyduck are going to act the house down in these scenes. So, what do you guys think about all of this? Are we ready for the hurricane that is Sydney DiMera hitting Salem this summer? Do we think Sydney Malakai is the perfect fit for the role? Is Kristen going to succeed in her evil plot, or is Sydney going to outsmart her aunt in the end? Because, let us not forget, Sammy Brady's daughter is nobody's fool. I swear, if Sydney double-crosses Kristen and teams up with EJ in the end to take her down, I will scream at my television. I literally cannot wait for this summer to officially kick into high gear to see how this all plays out. Salem is going to be an absolute war zone, and I am here for every single second of it.